Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Hard Count Football Podcast Live. My name is Jacob Chardown, leading the next generation of football fans live on the Hard Count Football YouTube channel and right here on Bucks Report. I am so excited for this show. I have been so excited for this show for so long, but finally, it is the off season. After the Bucks walk in and win the Super Bowl, finally, after another 18 years, 18 or 19 years, Bucks win another Super Bowl. The season is over, but the offseason has just begun. And so with that being said, it is time for the Hard Count Football Mock Draft 1.0. And I am so excited for this. And here's how this is going to work. Here were the rules for the mock draft. There will be some pick trades. Teams are going to trade picks. I'm going to go through all that. I'm going to incorporate that into this. I'm not going to go into every single detail of each trade that happens because this show would be 3 hours long if I did that, but I'll touch on a little bit of each. Also, all this is probably going to change. It's not probably, it's all going to change because this is only 1.0 because there is so much left in this season. There is so much left in this offseason, so much time, so many things. There's going to be trades. This quarterback situation is going to keep changing. So we have no idea what's going to happen. But here is my first mock draft. And after this, I'm going to send out the link to the show so you can all come in and disagree with me because you are going to disagree with me. And it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about it. So with that being said, let's get right into it. With pick number 1, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Trevor Lawrence, quarterback out of Clemson. This is obvious, right? I didn't even need to do this. The no doubt number 1. He showed up at his pro day. Oh my God, Trevor. And the reality is, Urban Meyer wouldn't be the coach of this team right now if it wasn't for Trevor Lawrence, if he didn't have that. This team, I don't know, they have a lot of cap space, and it's a weird situation over there in Jacksonville. I don't like what they're doing. I don't think, we saw this hire. I forgot the guy's name just the other day. He got hired and then resigned. A lot going on in Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence is going to go number 1. Guarantee he's the only option there. There's going to be no surprises. Not a lot to talk about. At pick number 2, the New York Jets select quarterback Zach Wilson out of BYU. And it seems like the Jets are moving on from Sam Darnold. Everything we're hearing, teams are interested. Teams will give up picks for him. The Jets want picks. Joe Douglas loves his picks. And, as more days go by, the less confident I am that Deshaun Watson is going to be the starting quarterback for the New York Jets next year. So it seems like it's going to be a quarterback. And then you start talking about, Justin Fields or Zach Wilson. Who's that QB2 in this draft? And I think that Zach Wilson, I would think it's Justin Fields if it was almost any other team that was picking at 2. I think it would be Justin Fields. But with Michael LaFleur coming in, Robert Saleh from San Francisco, Michael LaFleur coming in with that Shanahan scheme and that Shanahan offense, Zach Wilson just seems like he'd be more successful in that offense than Justin Fields would. So I think the Jets go with Zach Wilson here. At pick number 3, the Miami Dolphins select wide receiver Devontae Smith out of Alabama. And I know Devontae Smith, I know he won the Heisman. Teams don't care about awards. They don't, right? I've talked to a lot of people, some of them who have been in these draft rooms and in these draft conversations. No one cares about the Heisman. They don't bring that up, or first team all pros or whatever. No one cares about that. What they do care about is getting the player that fits their team, the best player that fits their team. And for that would be Devontae Smith because he's from Alabama. He's from that Alabama system. And the Dolphins they said they do believe in Tua's development. They want him. He's going to be their quarterback going forward. So you team that up. You team up Devontae Smith as a possible wide receiver 1 for this team, which is going to be because they do need it because Devontae Parker is not that at all. You get a young guy in there, help out with Tua's development, get him a guy to throw to. Oh my Lord. And they have a lot of picks in the first round. You can address some other spots. We're going to get to that, but I think Devontae Smith is the pick here for the Dolphins. Moving on to pick number 4, we have our first trade of the night, and that would be that the Atlanta Falcons will trade pick number 4 to the Carolina Panthers for pick number 8 and among other assets. And with selection number 4 in the NFL draft, the Carolina Panthers, via the Atlanta Falcons, will select quarterback Justin Fields out of Ohio State University. And here's what's going to be happening on draft night. And I can almost guarantee you that if the draft were to happen tomorrow, this is what would happen. The Panthers are going to be sitting at pick number 8 and waiting to see what the Jets do at 2. And if the Jets take Zach Wilson, then I think they make this offer to Atlanta. I also think that Atlanta can get who they want at pick 8, and they don't need pick number 4. They can move down. They can get whoever they want there, and they could load up on some more picks, and it makes sense for both sides. You have that new, you have the new GM coming in there, the new head coach. You have Arthur Smith there in Atlanta. I think that they want picks. They need things to work with, and I don't think that Atlanta is going to take a quarterback. I don't. They don't need one. They still have Matt Ryan locked up. Right? He's not going anywhere. He's just going to hurt the team. You cut Matt Ryan, you're in cap hell. In the cap situation, there's a nightmare with him. And I think they're going to run it back with Matt Ryan, and they're not going to get another guy to shadow him until next year. And I think that's the reality of it. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. So I got the Panthers at pick 4 taking Justin Fields because I think that's just Fields. I think all these quarterbacks are going to be good. That's an unpopular thing. I think the top in this top 5, I think all these players are going to be studs. Between Wilson, Justin Fields, and Trevor Lawrence, I think they're all going to be really good. Either way, Panthers take Justin Fields at 4. Moving on to pick number 5, the Cincinnati Bengals select offensive tackle Penei Sewell out of Oregon. You know, the Bengals could get Burrow another receiver, but I've been saying this all year that, you know, even before week 1 of this season, that the Bengals needed to get Joe Burrow an offensive line, and you saw what happened. And Sewell's just an absolute monster. He's going to be a tank. If he doesn't get injured, he could be a 10-year tackle for this team. He's going to be one of those greats. He checks off all the boxes, and as long as he stays healthy, he's going to be an absolute monster. The Bengals have a serious offensive line problem, and we know that championships are built from the trenches. Build up these trenches for Joe Burrow. Let him work. Let him develop into that quarterback that we know that he can be, because we absolutely see the talent there just from the games he played last season. Moving on to pick number 6, the Philadelphia Eagles select wide receiver Ja'Marr Chase out of LSU. If the Houston Texans didn't exist, the Eagles would take the cake far and away for the most dysfunctional organization in football. I don't know what they were doing with the Nick Sirianni hire. I think that they reached there. It made no sense to me. I think they missed out on their guy. I think their guy was Robert Saleh, and they missed out on their guy, so they had to go over in Indianapolis and say, well, we can't get Frank Reich for Carson Wentz, so let's get the next best thing in his offensive coordinator. And then Carson Wentz was like, bye-bye, but whatever quarterback is starting there, they need weapons. Since they essentially have no weapons now. Alshon Jeffrey, washed. Deshaun Jackson, probably none of these guys are going to be on the team. Jalen Reagor, I couldn't tell you what's going to happen with Jalen Reagor. Makes anything, but he doesn't look like a wide receiver 1. JJ Arcega-Whiteside is not good. Ja'Marr Chase is a great prospect. And I think there's so much pressure on this Eagles front office right now to do well and to help out this offense and this offense situation that they need to get him another weapon. They passed on Justin Jefferson last year. They got laughed at. Everyone knew Justin Jefferson was going to be good. They get laughed at. He has the best rookie season that we've seen since Randy Moss. Better. And now they have a chance at 6 to draft either a guy like Ja'Marr Chase. And I think that if you're looking at it, Ja'Marr Chase would be the wide receiver 1 in this group if he had played this year. But he didn't. I think he'll fall to 6, and he's going to be a really good player, and the Eagles absolutely need to grab him here. At pick number 7, the Detroit Lions select Jalen Waddle, wide receiver out of Alabama. The Lions don't need a quarterback. When I was first drafting this up and working on it, the Lions were taking a quarterback here. And then Matthew Stafford got dealt to the Rams, and I knew that was going to happen. But what I didn't think was going to happen was that Jared Goff would end up on the Lions, or that they would even want him. I don't know what is going on in Detroit. Someone in the chat, tell me, please, why is Detroit starting Jared Goff next year? It's Goff. I'm telling you, the decline of the decline of Jared Goff starts now, because he doesn't have those weapons. He doesn't have the system he was in with McVay. He doesn't have the opportunity to sit there and run the ball. because he doesn't have that running back. He had Todd Gurley for however long. He had Cam Akers last year, and that the run game last year for the Rams was whatever. They were on they had a lot of people. They had a lot of running backs, a committee. They had a running back committee last year on the Rams. They're not going to have that for the Lions. I don't know. But it also looks like Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones won't be back with the Lions next season, meaning they have no receivers left, essentially. Oh, Marvin Hall. Even if he is, I don't even think he's going to be there. And they don't need a tight end, so there goes the Kyle Pitts option because TJ Hawkinson's a really good player. So they need a receiver. And Jalen Waddle's the best receiver available at this spot. And I think that he's a very talented player, and if he can definitely help fill that gap that Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones will be leaving. Moving on. At pick number 8 via Carolina, the Atlanta Falcons select linebacker Micah Parsons out of Penn State, linebacker. The Falcons need help on defense. I don't know what this is. A team that's going to be picking early for a while, a long time. I'm letting you know that they're going to be picking early. Their defense, it kind of showed up at the end of last year, maybe kind of. They need defense. They need a defensive team. They just need to load up on defense. And Micah Parsons is an absolute great player. I thought he was I think he could have been a top 5 pick if it worked. He could still be a top 5 pick. If Atlanta doesn't trade the pick, they could absolutely still take Micah Parsons at 4. Don't be surprised about that. But I think that he falls down to 8 and the Falcons can still grab him. That's why that trade made sense for them. I loved Parsons. I think he's going to be a monster, and I think he's the next coming of Khalil Mack. I think he's going to be very similar to him. He's going to have a monster year his rookie year too. Clip that. Someone go clip that. That Micah Parsons is going to be an absolute monster. I think everybody kind of realizes that. But either way, Falcons get some defensive help at pick number 8. At pick number 9, the Denver Broncos select cornerback Patrick Surtain out of Alabama. Lockdown guy, probably the best corner in this draft. We're going to start getting through these a lot more because there's a lot less to say, at least for the next 10 or 11 picks. So we'll get through these quickly. Broncos take Surtain. They just lost Chris Jones last year. I don't think they're going to get, they just let AJ Bouye go. I'm telling you, this is Surtain, going to be a lockdown guy, especially from Alabama. Alabama produces some great defensive weapons, like we'll get to in a little bit. At pick number 10, the Dallas Cowboys select offensive tackle Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern. And the Cowboys need tackle help, right? They had all those guys retire. Travis Frederick retired. A lot of injuries up front. They need to load up on that offensive line again because they had a top 5. They had a top 3 offensive line for the last 5 years, and last year they just didn't. So I think that they need Jerry Jones realizes he doesn't need stud power. I think the Cowboys could go defense here. I don't think they will. But Rashawn Slater, best tackle available right here, Northwestern, absolute tank, very versatile player. Cowboys get a guy that isn't going to be a big name, big headline name, but Jerry Jones realizes that they need help up front, and Mike McCarthy certainly does also. At pick number 11, the New York Giants select edge Kwity Paye out of Michigan. I love Kwity Paye. Love this Michigan defense. I think he's going to be a monster. Giants absolutely need help on the edge. They need a good edge rusher. I think Paye can absolutely help out with that. At pick number 12, the San Francisco 49ers select cornerback Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech. Listen, the Niners have lost more on defense just this offseason than they ever have, even last year with all those injuries because they lost Robert Saleh, right? They lost their defensive coordinator. I still think this Niners defense is going to be really good when they come back healthy, but they are losing Richard Sherman, that lockdown corner. He is still a lockdown corner, and they could definitely use some more help there. So I think they go with Caleb Farley. I really like him as well. Very, very good player. At pick number 13, the Los Angeles Chargers select offensive tackle Christian Darrisaw out of Virginia Tech as well. The Chargers, they have Justin Herbert. They have their guy. I could see the Chargers going defense here as well. I don't think they will. I could also see maybe a sleeper pick that they go with a receiver here possibly, but I doubt it. I think Christian Darrisaw is a really, really good player. And the Chargers absolutely need some more help for Justin Herbert. And because we were talking last year, last year's mock drafts, I had the Lions, I had the Chargers taking almost I had the Chargers in almost all my mock drafts taking an offensive tackle instead of Justin Herbert, just because I think they needed more help there than they did at quarterback. Herbert's great. Now they have a chance to get another offense. They have a chance to get an offensive tackle in this draft. And I think they do here with the new coach coming in, because like I said, championship teams are built from the trenches. At pick number 14, the Minnesota Vikings select the first guard, interior offensive lineman, Elijah Vera Tucker out of USC. Probably the best guard in this draft, if not Wyatt Davis. And he's going to be he's a first round talent. Vikings need help there. I don't see a spot besides on defense that they have, and I think they'll pay for defense, that they have any glaring weaknesses besides guard. So I think the Vikings absolutely go with the guard here. At pick number 15, the New England Patriots select, and you guys are going to be mad he fell this far, tight end Kyle Pitts. And I'm a big Kyle Pitts guy, as much as anybody else is. But I'm looking at this at 1 through 14 and saying, what teams here need a good tight end? The Eagles, but the Eagles are going to take Chase, and Ja'Marr Chase is better talent than Kyle Pitts is. They do different things. And I think Kyle Pitts is going to be one of these top 5 tight ends that we're seeing on a week-to-week basis be this talented and be this good and productive. But the Patriots also, Bill Belichick is sitting in New England looking at what's going on and saying, we need offensive talent. Cam Newton was throwing to nobody. That worked with Tom Brady because Tom Brady could utilize those Walmart receivers and take this team year after year to the Super Bowl. And now you see what Tom Brady does with weapons. And Bill Belichick is looking like, hey, we need a quarterback. And I know I'm seeing people, Mac Jones. We'll get to Mac Jones. He's not going to go to New England. They're not going to draft a quarterback here. I think Kyle Pitts ends up in New England. I think he has a lot of talent, but just how the dominoes fell, the Patriots are the first team here that needs a tight end. They get Kyle Pitts, and they get an absolutely great offensive weapon. At pick number 16, the Arizona Cardinals select cornerback J.C. Horn out of South Carolina. Probably the second or third best corner in this draft. He's going to be the guy that you're like in the mid rounds. And you're like, how did he fall this far? I'm telling you, next year he's going to be that guy. You're going to be seeing a lot of production out of him. He's an absolute tank. His name just doesn't get out there as much because he plays for South Carolina instead of a team like, Virginia Tech or Alabama. And I think the Cardinals, I think they're losing Patrick Peterson from what I read. They're going to be losing Patrick Peterson. So get this team some more help on defense, man. They could not stop anybody last year. You get Chandler Jones back. You get Budda Baker. Isaiah Simmons can maybe do some more this year than he did last year. So we'll see. But the Cardinals get another corner here to replace Patrick Peterson and fill that gap. At pick number 17, the Las Vegas Raiders select edge Joseph Osai. I think that's how you say his name, out of Texas. The Raiders need more defensive help than anybody, and they like to reach in the draft a lot. He's not my highest rated edge, nor is he my second or third highest rated edge. But he's a guy that's going to be in the talks, and if John Gruden likes his guy, and he'll get him. So I think the Raiders get some edge help here with Osai out of Texas. At pick number 18, the Miami Dolphins' second selection in the draft, they get offensive tackle Samuel Cosme out of Texas. Samuel Cosme, versatile. I don't know a lot about him. I have to do some more research on him. Seems like a good player, but the Dolphins absolutely need some more offensive line help. He could play, I read he can play left tackle and right tackle. He flips sides, so that's definitely helpful. Get Tua some more help. Protect his blind side, which is the right side, and you can protect and the other side. But Cosme, absolutely great prospect, and I think the Dolphins go with a tackle in this spot. At pick number 19, the Washington football team, instead of picking, where are the Giants picking? The Giants are picking at 11. So instead of picking at 11 and having a chance at a guy like anybody really here, Kwity Paye, oh my God, can you imagine that line if you get another guy on the side? The Niners, I mean, Caleb Farley, you miss out on him. You miss out on a guy like Darisaw. Listen, Washington's going to take a quarterback. I don't think they're going to get Sam Darnold, and they're not going to get Deshaun Watson. So I think they go quarterback here, and they get Trey Lance out of North Dakota State, who he didn't play a lot of games last year because of COVID. And if it wasn't for Zach Wilson's name wasn't even in the conversation last year, probably a couple months ago. And now, just because Trey Lance didn't play, he's all the way down, and I think he's still a very good talent. And you don't judge the helmet, so don't look at what happened with Carson Wentz this year. So I like Washington to get Trey Lance, even if they bring in another guy to compete with him. I think that that's the guy here, and he falls to 19. At pick number 20, the Chicago Bears select wide receiver Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota. Rashad Bateman is one of my favorite prospects in this entire draft. I love him. I think he's going to be a great receiver. And if he falls to 23 for my Jets, I want them to absolutely stack him up because he's a great player. Bateman, we see with these Minnesota receivers, Bucs fans, you know what these Minnesota receivers are about. Tyler Johnson, a fourth round or a third round guy, comes out, shows a bunch of potential this year, and I think he's going to replace Chris Godwin next year, be a great asset. And here's what I'm going to do right now because I want to give you guys time to get in here. I'm going to drop the link to the show, so go ahead and join. Tell me I'm wrong, and as soon as I finish up this mock draft, I'm going to bring you guys in. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about each pick. Tell me what gripes you have with me, because this is certainly going to be fun. I certainly think that Johnny Dean is going to jump on and talk to me about this draft, because there is definitely some stuff coming up here that's very, very interesting. Let's move on. And with the Bears, Rashad Bateman, they're going to lose Allen Robinson, so they need another receiver. Moving on to 21, the Indianapolis Colts select offensive tackle Jalen Mayfield out of Michigan. Jalen Mayfield, another offensive tackle I really like, very versatile, especially since Anthony Costanzo, he retired, and Quentin Nelson is moving over. I know he's going to move over to play tackle. I don't think that that's the smartest option, so I think they go with a tackle here because they don't need a quarterback, and they won't be taking a quarterback because they will be getting either Carson Wentz or Sam Darnold. Moving on, the Tennessee Titans at 22 select edge Gregory Rousseau out of Miami. And this Miami edge rushing duo was dirty last season. And they were so good. And the Titans are in desperate need of edge help and pass rush. So I think Rousseau can absolutely help with that. At pick 23, the New York Jets select with their pick the other edge out of Miami, Jalen Phillips, because the Jets are also in desperate need of edge help, of pass rush help. And Robert Saleh comes in, going to get a defensive guy in the draft with that pick from Seattle. Don't forget, they also have pick 34, so they can afford to either spend, and if Bateman falls to 23, they might take Bateman, but I think they go offensive at pick 34, and they go with an edge here in Jalen Phillips, who I also really like, and I think both these guys are going to be really good in the NFL. At pick 24, the Pittsburgh Steelers select running back Najee Harris out of Alabama. I was not going to put a running back in the first round, but I'm looking at the Steelers and saying, Jalen Mayfield went, all these guys, Cosme's gone. There's not a lot of good tackles left, or guys that you're going to draft in the first round, and James Conner's gone. I don't think Benny Snell is an RB1, and Najee Harris looks like an absolute monster coming out of Alabama, and they are in need of help at running back. So Najee Harris, I like that pick for the Steelers out of Alabama. At pick 25, the Jacksonville Jaguars select offensive tackle Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State. He's fine. I don't really know a lot about him either, but the Jaguars need tackle help for Trevor Lawrence, because if you don't get him an offensive line, you're going to get Joe Burrow. It's going to the same thing's going to happen to Trevor. He's not going to be able to show what he can do unless you build those trenches, and you build from the trenches and you give him time to throw and find those weapons that you need to sign, because you also need help at receiver. At pick 26, the Cleveland Browns select linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I don't know a lot about him either, but he's a linebacker out of Notre Dame. Really, he's one of the top-rated linebackers in this entire draft. I think that's the second linebacker to go so far. So the Browns, they need help. If they don't go safety, I don't think a safety gets drafted in the first round. But if they don't go safety, I think they go linebacker. And Owusu-Koramoah, he seems like a decent player based on what I'm reading about him. At pick 27, the Baltimore Ravens select wide receiver Terrace Marshall Jr. out of LSU, the pair that went along with Jamar Chase, and he kind of showed up this year, Marshall, and the Ravens are desperately looking for that wide receiver one, and they can't really pay one. They're not going to be able to pay Allen Robinson what he wants because of the cap space and the cap hit and how there's not going to be as much cap space to use. And so they're going to have to draft one, and they're going to have to take a shot here in the late first to go with Terrace Marshall if they don't want to trade up for a guy maybe like a Rashad Bateman. So they go Terrace Marshall here. I really like it for the Ravens, but I don't think he's going to be that wide receiver one either that this team needs, and they're going to have to wait a little bit to get another one. So let's move on. And at pick 28, I don't know. A lot of people, I'm going to hear about it for this one. I'm absolutely going to hear about it on this one. And the more I looked at it, the more I liked it. And I'm not a huge fan of the kid, but I think that at pick 28, the New Orleans Saints will get Drew Brees' heir to the throne in Mac Jones, quarterback Mac Jones out of Alabama, because I'm not the biggest fan of Mac Jones, but I think that they are. And I don't want to hear anything about Taysom Hill. They know the reality about Taysom Hill. He's not a starting quarterback, and they're going to take a shot with Jameis as the starter next year. But you need that backup, and you need that guy to develop there for Sean Payton to develop for the future, just in case Jameis Winston doesn't work out and he really is that bust that we saw when he was on the Bucs. At pick 29, the Green Bay Packers select linebacker Zaven Collins out of Tulsa. I think that they should go receiver here, but I think they end up paying a guy like Juju to help out for Aaron Rodgers. Green Bay need a defense. Another great linebacker in Zaven Collins. I like him. Moving on, number 30, Bills taking a linebacker here. Nick Bolton out of Missouri. Another guy I've read a lot of good things about. I don't know a ton about him, but the Bills aren't that dominant team on defense like they were 2 years ago. They were pretty good last year, but they certainly need some more help there, and probably to get a little younger at linebacker. At pick 31, the Kansas City Chiefs select wide receiver Kadarius Toney out of Florida. And Toney, if you've seen that one clip of him like with dropping it, then you haven't seen enough tape on him, because he's a really good player. He's really fast, and the Chiefs love their speed, and they're probably not getting Sammy Watkins back. So they just have Tyreek Hill at receiver. So I think they go with another one here to get a young guy in there in Kadarius Toney, and I think he's going to be solid for them. And then at pick 32, I know you guys are at the end of the first round, Bucs fans, but I think you're happy for the reason why. I think you guys go with an interior defensive lineman in Christian Barmore. I know I've heard you guys want edge. You want an edge rusher because you're probably going to lose Shaq Barrett, and Christian Barmore's out of Alabama. I don't know. I think that you guys need to get younger at on the defensive line. A lot of old guys there. I think that you can even upgrade this run stop more, maybe get some more pass rush going with Christian Barmore. Good player. Alabama, like I said, creates some good defensive talent. And with that, now that we wrapped up this mock draft, I'm sure a bunch of you hate my picks and some of the things that I said. So I'm going to send out the link. I already did. I sent out the link. So you can come talk to me about what I did wrong, because I know a lot of you are going to want the Bucs to take an edge rusher here, but there's not one that I like enough. And with that being said, like I said, let's bring in the professor, Johnny Dean, in here to talk about this draft here. Johnny, we've been looking forward to talking draft for a long time. What's up, man?
I've been talking draft for 2 weeks, man.
Every time
Barmore, you think he's going to fall that far?
Who?
Barmore,
I think so. I mean, I'm looking at this, right? And I'm saying, what needs a defensive lineman, right? Maybe the Vikings have 14, though, for Barmore. I don't know. I can't think of a lot of teams here that need defensive linemen as their main need, right?
Yeah, I guess. Dallas needs everything, so Dallas can take whatever's the best on the board at the moment when they pick.
We're going to be sitting there. I mean, Slater's a good player. I don't think that there's a lot of other. I mean, maybe Kwity Paye, maybe a guy like Gregory Rousseau could go earlier. Caleb Farley. I literally they could go with anything. You're right at pick 10.
I literally cannot say Kwity Paye's name without laughing at it.
Kwity Paye.
It's like Kitty Payne or something.
T-Pain.
What a name for a football player.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get. Okay, with the Bucs, I don't see anything but an edge rusher or a linebacker. They might want to put a linebacker in there behind David right now because of his age. Who knows? I really don't think so. I think they're going to go with an edge because there's two positions on the Bucs. I mean, two people on the Bucs that they don't know about. They're unsure about. Shaq Barrett and JPP. You want to find his replacement because as good as the guys behind JPP are in rotation, they're not JPP. They're not starters right now. So
yeah. I just don't know who else is going to be sitting on the board at 32, right? Like
the interior. Well, there's quite a few. There's what's his name? I think the guy from the linebacker from Missoula will be there.
Nick Bolton.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had him going 30. I don't,
Jason Away, I think he could
possibly.
be there.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Like, there's a lot. There's a lot here. I want to ask you about this.
Joe Tryon, he's ranked 32nd, so it would fall right into place with him. So
yeah, I'm gonna ask you about this because I saw you commented something about it. I had Kyle Pitts dropping to 15. I'm not happy about it because I love Kyle Pitts.
I don't think he'll drop any farther than 6th. I mean, that's the third best player in the league right now.
Right.
And it's on tape. I mean, without him, normally I wouldn't take a tight end anywhere near the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, look what happened to the Bucks with OJ Howard. So
I don't.
I'm not saying OJ's not a bad player. He just can't stay healthy.
Right. I just don't like. I'm looking at it, right, and I'm saying, okay, well, Philly's I think going to grab a receiver. They're the only other team I think could grab Pitts at 6. And I think they go with Jamar Chase. The Lions don't need him because they have TJ Hawkinson. The Falcons, I mean, let's say the Panthers, for the sake of this, the Panthers maybe, but I think they'll end up going with someone. If the Panthers get a quarterback in free agency or they trade for a guy like Sam Darnold, I think then yes, that they do go Pitts here at 8. I think that's fair. But the Broncos seems like they're happy. They have other needs than tight end. The Cowboys, I don't know. I doubt they draft another offensive weapon. I don't think so. The Giants have Evan Ingram, and I don't like him at all, but he's there. The Niners have Kittle. The Chargers probably will be getting Hunter Henry back.
I can't see the Eagles passing on Pitts if he's there.
Right.
I just can't. With Zach Ertz getting a little bit old and stuff.
He's gone. Zach Ertz is going to be off the team next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they definitely could use Pitts.
Yeah. I mean, they could have, they could use really anything there on that.
Yeah. I don't think they're as weak as they were weakly coached.
Right. Yeah, that's fair.
I think the Eagles are still the Eagles. It's just they had to get rid of Peterson.
Yeah. Yeah. I at 19, I had Washington taking Trey Lance. Trey Lance has been a name that's been on and off. I've heard a lot of good, a lot of bad about him. What are your thoughts on Trey Lance as a prospect coming in so far?
I haven't gotten to Trey Lance yet. I've been going over all the Washington players and stuff like that because I know I look Bucks first and then other places. So I've honestly been stuck on the Washington guys and the Northwest. I know that Jason Light likes to draft from that area.
Yeah.
And the guy from I just said his name. Tryon.
Okay. Yeah.
I've been focused on those edge rushers that I'm pretty sure are going to fall to the Bucks. And I've been focused on linebackers who could step in there with Devin White when LVD decides to retire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Levante, I think you guys are going to get Levante David back. I think that either you tag him or I think you'll find a way to get him back on the team because I think Chris Godwin's gone. I think that's kind of the main one. I think Godwin and Barrett are probably both going to be gone because the reality is they're going to want too much money, right?
The two big stories for me are the Steelers because Ben is either going to be gone or he's going to take one hell of a pay cut because right now them getting rid of him will save them $51 million.
Oh, yeah, they need to. Okay. I'm so done with Ben Roethlisberger. Like I'm just like he is. I said, and I wasn't trying to hate on him last year. Like I don't like the Steelers. I don't just personally have a thing against Steelers. I don't know, but
I do.
Unbiased towards them. I just don't think Ben Roethlisberger gets it done anymore. You're looking at it, and you need a team that you need a quarterback there that's younger, right? Because you're looking around the league right now, and you're looking at guys who are successful. And listen, the top 4 left in the AFC were all mobile quarterbacks, right? You had Josh Allen, Mahomes, Baker Mayfield is relatively mobile, much more mobile than Ben Roethlisberger is, obviously, and you had Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Right. Or no, not Lamar. Who was the fourth guy over there?
Lamar Jackson.
It was Lamar, right? They were. Yeah. Yes. Oh yes, yeah.
Ravens, AFC North.
I was trying to think, and the league's getting younger, the game's changing, it's getting faster. Ben Roethlisberger, he just can't keep up with that, right? We're seeing his offseason, we're hearing his offseason plans are sitting at home drinking beer and watching TV. Like he does. I don't think and I think he's a Hall of Famer, but he just doesn't have what it takes to play right now. I don't think. To win this championships.
He didn't look good at all last year.
Right.
Now he I don't know what kind of yardage he put up. I haven't really studied it because I didn't care. But
that's fair.
Here's an example. And I believe this. It's reported that J.J. Watt's really liking the Browns.
Yeah.
Now, what would it take you to go to your brother's division rival?
I think if he does, he's listen.
I think he sees more chance there than he does with the Steelers. Honestly,
I think the Browns are in a more of a win now position than the Steelers are. I think the Steelers are going to need to. I think they're a few steps away from needing to go into a rebuild. Honestly. Right, they have a lot of young receivers. They're gonna lose Juju this offseason. They need a running back. I had them taking Najee Harris. I don't know how you feel about that, but I think he's the only running back that ends up going in the first round. Just because he seems like he's a really good player, and they need.
Who did you take for the Jets? I didn't hear you.
Oh, I had them taking Jalen Phillips, edge out of Miami, the other guy.
I'm telling you, they're gonna get Travis, dude. That's kind of the consensus around the NFL too.
I know.
It's not just me.
I just don't think the Jets and Joe Douglas want to spend a premium pick on a running back, right? Especially with all the guys that are available this offseason at running back. You know, you have Chris Carson now that it looks like he's going to be available.
Man. You guys got so many first-round picks. It's pathetic.
I know, but then we also have pick 34, and I think that there's a chance that Etienne falls to 34 also. I don't know.
But I can't see Etienne falling to 34. I could see. No, I can't see that either. I was going to try to give you Patrick Surtain somehow, but I didn't see that.
Oh yeah. There's too many.
Oh, you had Rousseau from Miami dropping how far?
I had him going 22.
Oh, dude, man, that's the best edge rusher in the draft,
I know. Here's my thing. So I had the Giants taking Kwity Paye, who I also really like because I don't know what Dave Gettleman does, but he's a pretty good drafter for the most part, kind of. And then I had where else did I go with an edge? Oh, I had the Raiders reaching on Joseph Osai out of Texas. So because tell me that's
not much of a reach. He's a good player too.
But tell me that's not the most Raiders thing to do, to leave that guy on the board and to leave like Rousseau on the board and take Joseph Osai because John Gruden had him really high up on his board or something random that he went to dinner with. He went to high school with like his third cousin or something stupid like that. I think that the Raiders, I don't love who the Raiders draft to begin with. Most of the time, like last year,
they've done okay since they've had Mike in there doing the drafting and John staying the hell out of the way, but
right. I don't know. The best part about this is that we have no idea. There is no way.
There's really not much to judge by right now.
Right. We're gonna really have we'll have a better idea once free agency starts and all that, because then we'll say, oh well, they need this, they didn't pay this, whatever, and teams are going to be looking to fill some of these premium spots with draft players because of the salary cap problems.
Yeah, that and the draft this year for me is really rough because you don't have anything from last year except for the SEC and stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the northern teams, you have to skip last year and go back an extra year to look at your players, man. And a lot can happen in a year. This guy's dropped off or that guy's dropped off, but we don't know it because we can't see it.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite this year? Do you have a favorite receiver in the draft? Who's your top rated guy so far?
Receiver? Pitts is my favorite receiver, but he's a tight end, you know?
Yeah. Listen, I've been hearing a lot about Devontae Smith possibly falling. I know Daniel Jeremiah I think Devontae Smith falling to 14, which is ridiculous because I don't think he will. And there's a lot of teams in here that could take a receiver. But I've heard a lot of people say, oh, well, before Jalen Waddle got hurt, he was actually outproducing Devontae Smith. And Jamar Chase is going to fall. Jamar Chase, you don't have anything on him last year. All you have is his 2019 film. And it's going to be hard to judge, who can play and who can't, because like you said, we don't have a lot of stuff to work with for a lot of these players.
Exactly. It's
Yeah,
like Jalen. Well, we know the South. That's it. All we can judge by is the South. The South we're pretty locked in on, like Pitts and
right.
Jalen Phillips and those guys. But
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
as far as
Let's get through some of these comments. All right, here we go. Bucket Blake says, Jacob, you the man, buddy. Keep up the great work. Thanks, Blake. Appreciate it. Johnny, you said Showtime. There can only be one. The Highlander reference. Bucksype says, Jags pick Trevor. I am shocked to tell you. I think out of all those picks, that's the one I can guarantee you that I'm most confident in. Willow says, a bit off subject, but I'd like to say rest in peace, Vincent Jackson, number 83. Flags are at half mast, honoring a great man and a true Buccaneer. Yes, I forgot to mention that at the beginning of the show. Absolutely. Rest in peace to Vincent Jackson. How terrible is that? Oh my God.
that's horrible, man. Vincent's probably been the most quality guy that we've had in the last decade, man.
And
that's
everything
saying a lot because we have a lot of quality people, but I mean, as far as honorable people, but
oh yeah, I mean, it's just it's a really unfortunate situation. As more stuff comes out, we'll talk about it a little bit more, but it's crazy. It really is. It's sad. All right. He Got Sports says, what should Washington do at quarterback? I have them taking Trey Lance because I think if they don't get a guy, I don't think they'll be willing to spend their first rounder on a quarterback. So I think they go with if they don't trade for Marcus Mariota, which I'm hearing, which is a weird one, I think they go with Trey Lance. And even if they do trade for Mariota, I think they'll draft Trey Lance. Why not bring in another guy? You don't know Mariota's going to work, and then it's a waste of a season if he doesn't. Buxton says Watson photographed hanging out with Dolphins players. Okay, I don't want to hear another thing about Deshaun posted a picture in a green car, so he's going to the Jets, or he posted a picture of the Dolphins player, so he's going to the Dolphins. There are people around the league, and I'm going to bring this. So he photographed with Dolphins players recently. Guess what? He has friends. They have friends that you have. I'm sure you have work friends, people you're friends with from work. Like none of that matters, right? Listen,
it doesn't. It absolutely does not matter. They cross train with each other and stuff. It's crazy, man.
Sam Darnold is best friends with Josh Allen.
Right.
They get out on the field. Okay, they're just playing each other. They're friends. They could be friends. They're rivals. They're division rivals, and they're friends. Like this
exactly.
I'm so tired of that. Right? Like it's ridiculous. Oh God. Mantra says the Jets are ass. Thank you. You're telling me, man. And Christopher says, let's go pick number 32. Like I said, could you guys be more happy about having pick number 32 in this year's draft? I don't think
that's a stretch, but whatever, man. Most drafts have him going around 8, man. You got him dropping at 32. I don't know if I want him if he drops that far.
We'll see.
Let's talk about something that a lot of Bucs fans would like to hear about.
Sure.
Mac Jones to the Saints.
Ooh, yes, I will certainly get to that right here. Johnny's comment. Saints ref Mac Jones, quarterback from Alabama. You knew before I even said it. I think this is the pick that's going to happen, right?
I do too. I honestly do.
I think Mac Jones, I'm not even that high on Mac Jones. I don't know where you are on him.
I have never once, and this includes your boy, Joe Namath, I have never once seen a good quarterback come out of Alabama.
Yeah.
Look what happened with the guy that went to Miami last year. He's not that great, dude.
He's not. I don't think he has that it factor either that makes him a starting quarterback in the NFL. No. But Mac Jones, man, the Saints need a guy there to develop. Jameis, I don't know if Jameis is going to work. I actually think Jameis will do a lot better in New Orleans than he did in Tampa because that's not that hard to follow up.
You're not going to pay Jameis $30 million to be a starting quarterback. They're in so much cap hell. They're going to keep Jameis on the bench, whether he knows it or not yet. That's where he's going to be, and they're going to draft a starting quarterback. They might use him in a contract year where he's not making much as a starter until the Mac develops, but then Jameis is gone, dude.
Yeah, I like that actually. That's I agree with you there. You said Goff is better than Wentz. Yes, but I think Goff is going to slowly or quickly decline coming this season on the Lions because that seems the place where people just crumble to the ground, isn't it?
Yeah.
You said the Cowboys need defense. I think they could go defense here too. They can go with an edge. They can possibly
That's their biggest. I mean, if you want to pick apart the Cowboys, the biggest need for them is defense.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
They
But
don't have no linebackers. They don't have nobody in the trenches. They don't have no corners. Come on, man. They don't have nothing
this
on
is Jerry
defense.
Jones here we're talking about, right? And this is him looking at the end of last season and saying, "Oh well, the defense kind of played well at the end of last year, so we're good. We'll just move it into next year. It's fine. We'll move it into next year. It is what it is. Whatever." And then, oh well, they need some help up front too. So I think they go with offensive talent because Jerry Jones loves his offense and hates his defense for some reason, and I could not tell you why.
Well, for that, we're going that deep about with it because it is Jerry Jones. Then I expect him to pick a kicker first.
Sarah Fuller. Oh. Bucks Time says the Lions are a dumpster fire. Yeah. You said, actually, the Cowboys can take whoever they want as the best player on the board at all their picks. They're in shambles all across the board. Yes, I agree. Oh, Mantra says Mac Jones. What? Yeah, okay. It seems like this guy's he's got a lot of football knowledge. We'll keep going. Johnny said, I really can't see Pitts dropping too much. Yeah, we talked about that. The tight end position in New England has been a black hole the last couple seasons. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying, that they don't realize that they need. Bill Belichick's looking at that situation and looking at Tom Brady and everything that happened last year and saying, all right, well, we need to draft some offense, right? I mean, how can you not?
Because he's Bill Belichick. He's a defensive-minded guy. He's the GM, and his defense was not good last year.
Yeah, but they're going to be getting Dante Hightower back, Patrick Chung. They're getting a lot of these guys back, at least for the most part. I don't know. Bucksum says an edge rusher. Yes, we talked about that. JPP is long in tooth. I don't know what that means, but
that means he's getting old.
Yeah. I'm good with defensive end or defensive tackle if it is a guy with pass rush ability. I think Barmore has a lot of pass rush ability, doesn't he? He's definitely gets in there. We need a new snap.
I'd be happy with Barmore. It's just I don't see him dropping that far, man. If he does, then I'm going to be worried about why he dropped.
That's fair. Yakin says, we need a new snapper and holder. Okay.
Her first pick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Relax there. Saints need a new snapper and holder. Oh, no. Lamar Jackson is a good running back. Big Ben must weigh 300 pounds. Ben looked like a Big Mac last year.
Lawrence looks worse this year.
Lawrence said nothing. I don't even know you could do that on, but congrats. JJ Watt to the Browns makes sense in a weird way. It does, and that's going to be a weird sight if JJ's in a Browns jersey, isn't it? Oh,
it's going to be a scary defense, man.
Oh, him and Myles Garrett.
Yes.
Oh my Lord, the best spot for JJ Watt is a nursing home. Okay, he's still got a lot in the. He's not a 3-down edge rusher, but I think he's definitely still.
I'm not lining up against him.
Yeah, exactly. You go ahead and line up against JJ Watt. Jim Melvin says, I see the Bucks trading down this year. Yeah, I could see them trading out of the pick. I don't know. I doubt they do, though. I think they have I think that even though they won the Super Bowl, there's still things they need to address at pick 32, right? There's still things they need to fix.
Oh, yeah, and we usually hit pretty well on that first pick.
Yeah. I mean, Tristan, I did not think Wirfs was going to fall that far last year. I don't think you did either. Oh,
I thought we were going to get your guy, actually.
Right, we talked about this. I thought here was my order. I had Wirfs going last year 4 to the Giants. I had Becton going 10 or whatever the Cardinals pick was. I had us getting Andrew Thomas, and then I had you guys getting Jedrick Wills, which was
see. I had Becton as number 1, Wirfs 2, Jones, if you remember him, he was ranked ahead of Wirfs, but I had him 3rd.
Where was he?
He's the Alabama guy.
I don't know.
Yeah. See, nobody knows because he disappeared.
Yeah, where he ends up going.
I have no clue. I forgot all about him until I was just going through this.
What's his first name?
Oh man, I can't remember. It was Jones something. He was got the tackle from Alabama. That was everybody was so high on, or it might have been Brown even. I don't know. He's a blur now.
Eric Jones? No. That was I don't even know. What?
Anyhow, let's just go with the Alabama tackle.
We'll go Bama tackle on it. Sure. Yeah.
Anyhow, he disappeared. And then I had, who was it? You just said his name a few minutes ago.
Andrew Thomas?
Thomas, that's it.
Yes.
That's how I had it. And and we got worse. And I was like, okay, I can deal with this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
out of those guys, I mean, Becton, I still expect something to come from Becton.
Oh,
but
he's so good. Yeah, he's so good. He's so, Yakin says Watson was wearing red shoes. He's coming to the Bucks. We'll talk about. I'm going to talk about that on Rick's show a little bit because it's not me saying that I want him to go to the Bucks at all. But you're looking at it and saying, "Oh well, would you give up? What would you give up to get Deshaun Watson in the building over Tom Brady for next year?" And I think the answer might surprise a lot of people when you really think about it, because I know Tom Brady just won you guys a Super Bowl, but
I wouldn't take him because we'd have to give up our future again, and that's what we did with John Gruden. And I'm not doing it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Personally, I wouldn't.
That's fair. Carl says Johnny Dean just got here. What position should we be looking to pick up first? I think we unanimously said edge, somewhere on the defensive line or linebacker.
Edge or linebacker, yeah.
Yeah. Jeff Williams says Dallas will go for Wilson. Zach Wilson? I don't think.
Zach Wilson's not going to Dallas.
No. I'm sitting here. I'm like, did I miss a Wilson or something on here? That like, I'm like, oh, okay, guess not. Dak's gonna be the quarterback for Dallas next year. I don't know how many people need to hear that.
As long as he can stay healthy.
Yeah, as long as he can stay healthy. Dak's a starting quarterback next year. Come on.
Who'd you have for the Bengals, man?
I had them taking Sewell. I had Sewell fall to 5.
Okay.
I think that's kind of where, because the teams, you saw the Bengals offensive line last year was atrocious. I mean, they almost got their rookie quarterback killed.
I had Slater going there.
Oh, really? Did you have Sewell going earlier to the Dolphins?
No, I had Slater ahead of.
Oh,
Sewell.
wow. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. I think Sewell's kind of the top ranked guy across the league. I don't see anything wrong with him. What are you seeing? Are you seeing anything wrong with Sewell that you're moving him down, or just you really like Slater?
I just see. I like Slater. I like he can move. He's got hips. He's good out in space, and Sewell's not quite as good out in space.
That's fair. Yeah, no, for sure. I think that either way, they're taking an offensive lineman. They don't need they could go receiver. No reason to get your guy. Build it from the trenches. Trenches up. This team has a lot to fix for the Bengals. But, Johnny, I'm going to get you out of here because I'm going to wrap this thing up a little bit early tonight, 5 minutes early. So go ahead, tell us where you can find you and any last comments for the show.
Great show, man.
Thank you.
I always love your show. What's Happening Sports and Entertainment page on Facebook, and you can find me on Facebook, hanging around Bucks Report.
For sure, man. Johnny, I'll talk to you soon, man. See ya.
Later.
Peace. All right, and one more thing before I wrap this show up is I want to talk about this. So I heard – there was a report that came out a little bit earlier in the week that said the Jets' top guys are in free agency at receiver are Juju Smith-Schuster and Curtis Samuel. And that made me think, well, what happened with Jamison Crowder, whatever. You cut Jameson. If the Jets were to cut Jamison Crowder, who has been a stud for this team the last 2 seasons in a lot of bad moments, Jamison Crowder has been a great player. It would save them $10.4 million in cap space. And with the amount of talent at slot receiver this offseason, I could absolutely see them moving off of Jamison Crowder. Something I wanted to address. I really like Curtis Samuel. I think that he serves a similar role to Deebo Samuel, like he did in that San Francisco offense, and that's definitely the guy they're going to push for. I don't like Juju as much, but I think if you let him do what he does in the slot, he could definitely be better, and don't try and force him as a wide receiver 1 down our throats like Pittsburgh did last year. So that's what I wanted to leave off at. And with that being said, I'm going to wrap up today from the Hard Count Football Podcast live. My name is Jacob Charno, and thank you so much, everyone, for joining me tonight. Be sure to go check out Johnny Dean everywhere, like he said, and be sure to go follow me on Twitter at Jacob Charno and on Instagram at Hard Count Football. As always, remember to check out the Hard Count Football Podcast live every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern right here on Bucks Report and on the Hard Count Football YouTube channel. Be sure to go check out other videos from the Hard Count Football YouTube channel and subscribe.